APA. And then together with Umfaji Kaba and others, NGC, Dennis Bright and others, we designed what we call the Bintimani 3, which was the APA project. But not to women in color, it was not about establishment of a social or national cohesion commission. The reason why we conceived and we conceptualized that Bintimani 3, we thought that immediately after the election, what was necessary was what we call post-2018 national elections trauma healing and reconciliation conference, where we designed and all the political party association, chairman and secretary general, them. Now we, for lead, we create that platform because APA not a platform for opposed government, whether ruling or opposition. No, now a platform where we clearly get a constitution, Prince we talk say, now for big trust and relationship between all the chairman and leadership of political party, the 17 there, so that we'll get a common vision for Salone. So would I ever did it? If I will go to the call opinion advisory note on a confidential note, normally we can go give president for your eyes only. So we take now opportunity to look at the Kenya experience, the Nigeria and Ghana, because maybe they don't work on governance issue on the African continent for the UN. So, and I was also in charge of UNDP before the elections in Sierra Leone, before I left for overseas. So at the end of the day, that was a missed opportunity because what you want to do as all the parties there now for, say after the election, all the trauma we don't go through. Now competition, now 16 bit team up election. If you want party win, then out of that 16, the remaining 15, you can forget an orange branch where we go come together with Sheikh and you know, what are the time for the gentlemen and colleagues, every Sierra Leoneans? Why will not nurture competitive spirit? If we look like in our football, we all go play, one possible where you win, you go above your party now and say, let me reach out to my brothers and sisters. But when I Carlos Sidon, Samoa come, Jonathan come, can they come? We all don't compete, but I don't beat now. When I Carlos Sidon make this country, because let me tell you what people don't know, and we all know. We all, when we team up with 16, we all get with different tribes, we get with different supporters, we get certain, some of we performance and not mean too good because now 1 week they register a political party. But never mind, don't underrate that in Africa now. Because what you see in Sierra Leone are very happy. Yesterday and today, the waiting up in 2018, you go see 2023, the people don't so wise enough that. So they gone at the days where they say, the predominance of APC versus SLP, they will struggle. We're gonna have 16 tribes that will get a Salone, they will get 17 political parties now. Who say they go get 55%? So the first thing is where you can have the power of incumbency, you the way you don't win if not 2 times you remember, you can forget an inclusive governance approach. And I didn't like you. Some of people want to help the situation, but now, me they took summary say, where you say from yesterday to today, but we have not been able to deal with the software after the election. From 2018, we not deal with the software. Twitter, they talk software versus hardware. If you not heal among the 16 tribes, whether they say 17 political parties, then we are not going. You cannot exclude 48%. Let's take APC, for example, Samoa Kamara doing the runoff. They get 48% or more. So you can, if you can with an exclusive leadership style, it's not going to work. Meaning most of the 48%, let me mean as Southeastern and Vandi there on that, but theirs are the Northwestern people. There are tribes, there are people. The greatest asset we got given our different tribes them.
Yeah,
you know?
Mr. Sandy.
So I go just summarize from that point. They say, one, I think the debate for move and beyond just political parties, but we need for nurture, do we have a common agenda as Sierra Leoneans? What is our national interest and core values? Are we working towards that? Second, I agree with the speaker that say the system now rotten. If the 1991 constitution don't become obsolete, I was in Lome. I was part of the peace mediation. But for 20 or more years, Fodes Sanko brought those things. Let's give it to them. They say, well, review that constitution day. The winner takes it out for, now they will help we. Yeah. Anybody who win, the KG master, it has Prince's Excellency. No, it don't become Prince Law, no make hypocrite. We need to get rid of the 1991 constitution. I'm your submission, and thank you so much for the panelists And thank you, Prince, for the contribution. I just say for reinforcing Mfaji, Vanti, Adams, they all know all they say. Yeah.
No worries at all, Mr. Sandy. Just before you go, I want to use this opportunity live while we're on air for extend an invitation to you for appear for an interview at some proposed date later. Because again, your submissions are well noted, but again, at the same time, I get 1 or 2 questions for you, because we all seem to be confused. The submission and way you make them so salient, but you have been part of a structure where they try for determine how this country for go forward, many fences coming together and realizing a common goal. But this yet still has not worked. You talk about Bintumani 3, for example, you've been in at the background, when I get a different name. But if I get them correctly, it seemed like a process again was hijacked and it became something different. If you go agree with that. So the issue here is, how do we find these common grounds? You know, and the issue where they try for discuss equally so is, will they rein in on the commonality where you just talk about? But I mean, they try for do party levels for us. You see how they ask each people about them party. And no one just puts the SLPP, especially when they not get a defender right here at the stage, for at all the questions that we possibly don't prepare as to how we will come together as a nation. Because you are absolutely right. If the winner takes it all system continue, then we are not heading anywhere. You can't just have this supreme power and then you rule for this period of time. You go, you did behind the scenes, they pull the strings, and nothing really happen. The arms of government need for function. That make I appreciate Brother Mfaji. Anytime we get an opportunity for talk, now institutions they talk about, especially the 3 arms of government. But I really appreciate you, time, sir. So this is a formal invitation, and I will try to talk to you later on in camera.
No problem. Thank you so much to Vandy and I can bug me at them forum. But I'm so, yeah, because I was on AYV immediately for respond on the Commission of Inquiry, and I made it clear. I said I know the root causes, but we will discuss more on that, Prince. And again, thank you so much, countrymen. Keep the good work, and I think we will get there one day. I have that trust that the change in political culture will come. Not to tell you they come overnight.
It's slow and painful.
They come, but I believe say if the other country they don't do them, we go get there. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thanks for participating. Okay, gentlemen, time fast spent, so I will try for rush through because I really want for let we deal with the white paper, and I really want for let we put the party and talk about the ruling party within the context where the brother just talked just now. Because if we identify the ills and the wrongs of the society, then maybe we can find that common ground the way we move forward. So again, Adams, let me be critical of the party, the All People's Congress, okay? And critical in the sense, you know, your party not seem for be steady. The APC party not seem for be steady right now. What do I mean by this? Then they're on the back pedal, then they're under great pressure. And within again, the system within itself, you know, yeah, they feel some social shocks, some social pressure. People that they left, right, and center, they call for reform. What's your take, Adam? What's the way forward?
Thanks, Prince. The truth of the matter is APC will have to be reformed. And of course, like Brother Sandy said earlier on, reform not a process. It takes time. The party will get to be reformed, but hopefully, you know, the current leadership, they work on that. The party, they in a shock in the sense that we are faced with too many challenges. One of which, of course, where you talk about, so now this government white paper way seemed for don't get so many, literally all of the people away serve, or 90%, 98% of the people who serve under President Nkrumah, who are by themselves APC members, and then people that are by the white paper, which is a constitutional instrument, we say it's when you're found guilty, it's more or less a ruling of the High Courts of Sierra Leone. People end up for go defend their names, which by itself don't come serve as a distraction as to how the party for reform. But I am pretty sure if those people have a day in court in a fairer system, like we only talk, so I wouldn't say all of them are clean because I don't know how some man be don't work, but let the courts go decide that. We ensure say justice be done fairly. They looked at the evidence critically, And then other than they know say they're completely innocent, let them people and they make them freedom. But unfortunately, what we get a white paper where seem for be so inconsistent from the outcome of the CY.
Yeah, we go come to the white paper. Yeah. Normally you preempt them. We definitely go come there, and this is where exactly are they go. Thank you so much. But Mfaji Kaba, you party obviously. I mean, I'm going to be a little bit harsh, but I say I'm with all due respect, sir. Is in terms of the political construction of the country, they talk about relevance. You are barely relevant, especially so without a talisman, a charismatic leader. You will not get people in a parliament who will influence things. And right now, your own party as well, they under pressure. My question to you, sir, how can you impact the national discourse if you not get there, if your anatomy not get strong backbone? In other words, you know, the parliament, not only when you get opportunity, you know, here for talk on media, that's the only time so far we can manage for the ADP. How can you make this difference or changes that you so much look forward to?
No, Prince, of course, let me get this thing clear. When you talk about parliament or ministerial or political appointment, that not exclude you from participating on national issues. Because if forgo parliament means say Nadia go gentry and be more corrupt, they last stay out and like why they talk so loud, talk to the people there and try for share their own views and educate them. It's very important. And with the ADP, with party, yes, to get constraints. But even with that, like when somebody just mentioned, one of my colleagues, the way they talk about the active and constructive engagement of a leader, I mean, in West, they go far. Take us say that one of the young political parties, but would have been for imagine. In fact, if we very much convinced, say, if rigging not been there and other things the way they know malpractices during the electionary period, we might have gained more because we come fifth out of 17 parties. So the issue of regard. I don't want to agree, I differ from that because even with the previous government, one of the serious critiques of that government, objectively and constructively, even when I was abroad, I mean, they participate meaningfully by addressing through the media, they send articles and other things. And the whole country did not say, yes, one individual will actually bring about the changes for this country. Now we leader, the chairman and leader.
Thank you.
And this party this current government where they so today, I mean, they see and say, besides the APC way, like me, APC colleague just talk, I mean, the main opposition party, they have been distracted and they don't engage in so much things that then they try to see how best they can move forward and be more constructive in addressing national issues. So therefore, that they, a party like ADP don't come inside. So we are very, very much relevant in the political dispensation of what is actually happening and are very much satisfied with that, say, we look at things objectively. We've been more realistic and we are ready to actually bring out and talk about things that concern with people. The deprivation of youths, provisions not make for them. We hospitals are empty, dilapidated. The government don't take their eyes off the ball. These are facts. The judiciary is questionable. The legislature, not the operators.
I think you may.
So we are really our role. You see, we are playing a very important role to educate and to actually make sure that
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with you, sir. I absolutely agree with you because after all, it not necessarily means that you get forced to go inside parliament. We know say the pen is a very powerful weapon and that can go far and wide and it can help for conscientize people. And that also a very, very relevant. Mr. Bashiru Vandi of the NGC, here's the point here, okay? I want you to talk a little bit, I mean, for the sake of time, I will try for rush through things because there's so much for cover and we approach the mark. I want you to tell us a little bit about una charismatic leader, Dr. Kande Kole-Yumkela. And I say this in the sense of, even though it happened to get a minority a number inside Parliament, but it don't become, some kind of a heavyweight. We seem for the local issues between left and right. It seems for they in the middle of everything, whether or not the opposition, they try for channel something, or vis-a-vis the ruling party, they try for, get out a paper or initiate a policy. He seems to be the man in the middle. If this is so, how is he working this out? And on top of that, like compound the question, because I want to deal with that. It's also come under major criticism, which you will expect, because if he endorse something and not go down well with the other side, then obviously he will be criticized, and we've seen this many times. How is the doctor coping with all of this inside this parliament?
Thank you very much for the question. We leader, they cope with that very well, because you see, we understand the mentality of the two parties, APC, SLPP. So now I make the criticism against the leader, would they take like water off a dog's back? Because KKY get a reason to make a day in politics. In reason for day in politics, now one thing, for bring productive change. And the way for bring productive change at Sierra Leone, now for actually focus on the system, the systemic problem, because in Sierra Leone, we problem will get now the system. The system there in a place, would I ever come, now the follow. If they get in young Kabudu, protect them, they follow the system. The one where they're in opposition, they will criticize, stay where they come, they follow the system. So Dr. Kande enrolled now for expose the system and for showing the solution. And in problem resolution, the one that we do psychology and business management, will tell you, say, in problem resolution, you cannot solve the problem without, first of all, identifying the causes of the problem. Now, only when you understand the causes of the problem, then you go able to come up with a solution. So the solution where NGC, under the leadership of Dr. KKY, don't bring like this. The political parties that Sierra Leone forget, like we go about to just now, we forget a national agenda. We don't understand Sierra Leone we become independent for a reason. We will not escape exploitation by colonialists. We want to solve the problem of poverty in Africa. We want to get rid of ignorance. You see, these are fundamental problems where to unite the politics of Sierra Leone. That will be our aim. So politics will be about how to achieve this, how to become independent from colonial powers, how to stop exploitation of resources, how to develop Africa to become a self-sufficient, Sierra Leone to become a self-sufficient nation, or to stop this parasitic dependence on foreign powers. How to upgrade life in Sierra Leone from the state of deprivation to civilized living standards. That has to be that has to be the political argument. But what do we get? We get two political parties when they don't understanding of politics. Now forgo into politics, forgo it. How forgo it? Now see one problem they talk where they know they talk about they know they bring inclusive governance. Well, I go bring inclusive governance where you can do that ready for it. Politics in the mentality of APC and SLPP, not to solve national problems.
Okay, but Abashir, the question is centered around the charismatic leader of the NGC. I understand that you expect.
Well, I will build the case, sir. So
I will give you opportunity again. Trust me. Say we run out of time and we get Boku thing for.
So I will build the case. So okay. the problem, there is a problem with perception of politics. So can they enroll now for clarify what is for be the national agenda, and the national agenda that for bring sustainable development, and by in doing so, you get for and be very objective in analyzing politics. So now it make when they see in Sierra Leone, whenever we got an incident like the Makeni incident, like the removal of APC MPs from parliament, like the state of emergency, like the fight against the coronavirus, like all that things that we talk about. All along
the state of emergency, all the things that you talk are quite correct, including the state of emergency. But Dr. Kande was heavily criticized as to how he conducts himself regarding the state of emergency. Bash, we get. I will come back to you with all due respect. You get more time. I will come back to you. Save that. Then we get equal time, Bashir.
Okay,
Don't filibuster. Don't filibuster, brother.
So basically, he now get a problem with all the criticisms because a confident say what he do in argument, in strategy, correct. The middle ground in Sierra Leone are the best way.
Okay, I can tell you this. I say I agree with everything where you say, including the state of emergency. But the state of emergency is obvious and is out there. This is not being made up. That Dr. Kande himself came out. His expectations of the SOE and the reason why and some turned out not for be so, and there was almost like apologies. That's what I'm saying, and we need to accept that. But hold on right there. Let me go to Brother Jimmy Sabashiru. Ceasefire. You get for example some of this energy for the campaign trail. You know, it's not too far away. Brother Jimmy, sir. Very, very interesting take from Brother Bashiru. I know say once you come to Dr. Kande, the passion, is running, very high and rightfully so. I want to talk about the young party C4C because I just to deal with the party then quickly and come to the main white paper issue and the issue of bread and butter. The C4C itself, they said the young charismatic leader, Dr. Alhaji Sansumana, don't left the party. And we noticed that when he left the party, describe and power interviewer get to one other C4C, I think then executive, say the party they implode. I think that Brother Tab, the party they implode. Will you agree, say the party probably not they implode, but there are issues that are very serious, which the party need for take actions now for save them as an entity. Other than that, the party is going to break up, and the very reason for which it in a parliament for opposed government will turn out to be a complete failure.
Very honestly, the party they face issues like that. Firstly, when the leader left with the political heavyweights, Chief Alhaji Abubakar Sidiki Samsumana, it not as a surprise because they don't do internal consultation and tell you about the political ambition. That they want to go back to the party of origin when at the People's Congress Party. They be able to engage stakeholders in the party to an extent that they go to the strong base of the party when upon this speech. They also be able to extend that courtesy to the people and tell us, say, let them allow her. They ask them the question, they go allow her to go back to the party of origin. And of course, the people then get the blessing for go. So that they cause a little bit of shaking for party, no lie. That's now the leader of the party, and to a very large extent, they will be building the party around, so to speak. But the party of itself now an institution where we establish, we get we rules and regulations so they play by. We get strongholds, and I go for assure listeners, viewers, and me colleague participants at this forum say C4C is there, is strong. We are kicking, we have issues. Even in parliament, we have issues. I will not lie. I know we come for cover things that we in reality we are very transparent as far as we have been as far as we conduct ourselves in the body politics of Sierra Leone. We have issues of even in parliament. I hope so. I know say recently we try to get a change in terms of leadership in parliament. Again, the parliament itself, parliament of Sierra Leone, the leadership of parliament of Sierra Leone, not agree. Follow make their changes. Also because of political interference into smaller political parties, the bigger parties, of course, the current system, the current government, very much aware of the strategic nature of C4C when it comes to determining who should be president in that country. They're very much aware of that. So basically, there is heavy political interference into the affairs of C4C from the ruling party. We get the challenges in our parliament. As I talk to you, we even in a court, another faction say they question the legitimacy of the current national executive of the party can come on a court. But you can also imagine this is where we say with judiciary erotic, because anybody on the street of Freetown can just grab and go political party in a court, and then right there you pass injunction, even without hearing from the other side, you just pass injunction by the party say you should not have any activity. I mean, you will imagine, say, you get to give the other party an opportunity for a from them before you take such action. So we get issues, but I could tell you, say, those issues are not to break us, but they are there to make us stronger and get experience. In a very new political party, even though you get people away don't serve in different political parties for now, but a very new political party with a try for manage the issues and they SFP be done in this position also they so where the leader Bernadette Lai at the time also be very close to the ruling party where make most of the things the way SFP be work for doing parliament and not be able for doing through Bernadette Lai. We also see similarity. Yeah, we also see similarity na C4C. But today na SFP na the power so C4C no go break because of the NTR. We get an issue there, but we take care of that as we go along little by little. We are for sure the public safety force is very strong. We work together, and then we will see. We'll go form the next government in that country, hopefully.
Well said. Brother Adams, thank you very much, Brother Jimmy, sir. Brother Adams, I bring this come to you because now your party and the members of the party, they feel the brunt of waiting they happen right now. And when I say waiting they happen right now, they talk about the war against corruption being heralded by the current president, His Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio. We know say war on corruption is a good thing because we all do understand corruption, the effects and the negative effects of corruption. It kill people and basically it lead people into poverty and the rest of it and stop development generally in a country. So when person launch a war on corruption, it is a good thing. But there are questions as to the approach. Although the answer will look almost obvious, but I ask you anyway, do you have issues generally with the way this war on corruption is being fought? Do you have issues with the approach?
Absolutely. But before I go to your question, let me just say this. I think the APC party is not opposed to us fighting corruption, or at least try to get rid of corruption if we can, not Salon. You will recall that it was under the leadership of Ernest Koroma we get the strongest anti-corruption laws in the entire West Africa. In fact, in Africa, under Ernest Koroma. The records are there. When President Bio take over, he say he want to fight corruption. Absolutely. Every good-meaning citizen, any part of the world, go want for support the fight against corruption. But also, we must also understand we are a nation of laws. You understand? Just because I take over, I want to fight corruption, the first way you get to do, you need to see your immediate predecessor as a target. You will go after the evidence and the facts for make sure say you're able to prove whatever allegation we make against the people there. It is proven beyond all reasonable doubt. But what we see will happen. When this government come, in the first instance, now the GT2 report, now the accusations begin. They begin call the immediate past government as a government of corrupt elements, say it was full of criminal racketeers. So you don't nail them even before you start the fight. Now the government decides for set the constitutional instruments 64, 65, and 67, which are, by the way, are legitimate instruments as provided for in our constitution. When they don't set this then document they are, waiting we constitution tell we see. I think it's section 91 or so. I'll try to recap the exact section, where it talks about the rules of courts committee. That is to say, you get certain standards where you get for set, where now the requirement or criteria as to where the court get for abide by. When the Chief Justice now is supposed to lead into that. That now the very first thing where the persons of interest where they begin calling, they ask for their lawyers. Then protest, firstly say the commissions of inquiry they do not get the jurisdiction for listening to the issues than the body court. Now they went to those commissioners, they argue this element where they talk about. So the section 150 we talk about courts committee. They argue on there, but unfortunately the commissioners, the sole commissioners, then rule say they get jurisdiction for listening. Now, what did they do also? They proceeded for interpretation to the Supreme Court. Now here is the thing, Prince. If this president and the government were sincere about the fight against corruption, you would advise that those files be empaneled and let's have interpretation in that section 50. But unfortunately,
Mr. Bangura, yes. I want to let you hold your thoughts there.
I just want to make a round up.
Okay.
Unfortunately, waiting we see what happen. There was this counter argument from the government say previous commissions of inquiry would then be set up, including that of 2008, would investigate the Sababo project under Abbas Mundi and others. They said there was no rules of court committee. But unfortunately, then failed to realize that the persons of interest then, they're not being protest, and they didn't go to the court for go argue that. Then people will say, let us go to the court, let us argue this, let's have an interpretation by the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court, we don't give an interpretation, and then we follow the evidence. But unfortunately, it is not the case. For me personally, I think say we have missed an opportunity for make we nail corruption once and for all.
Okay,
I did not mean because of the series of accusations with them precede and the flawed manner in which this whole thing had been conducted. We've missed an opportunity,
Mr. Mfajikaba. We've missed an opportunity for let we nail corruption once and for all. So I take this submission to you, Mr. Mfaji, and I want based on institution why they affect this corruption, and corruption rightfully should be fought. But when you gear all your effort towards one element, by your perception now your enemy, instead of a nation of corrupt people and go after generally corrupt people, but you just focus on a party, on a particular people, sure, Mr. Mfaji, that would be questionable. Isn't this so, sir?
Of course, definitely it will be questionable. But let me say something here. What in my colleague don't say from the APC party, that not their own view wouldn't look. I remember recently, a couple of days ago, I've been there on a radio interview 98.1, and I've been get a gentleman there where we all been to talk with the represent the party who would in at the panel. And exactly that is it. When APC been in a power and set the commission of inquiry, they follow the rules and whatnot. So I've been a thing to me said, but I not been want for let we get out of what we discuss on. And I say, oh, is that a copy? Now rubber stamp business say when you don't do this, so when I come, when I come, I get for do the same thing. When something don't broke or something get flaws, when you come, please correct it. Until we able to understand, say we get for respect the laws of this country. We get for actually really look at it and say the meaning of justice. What in the democracy they talk about the separation of powers, the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive, until, especially with the opposition, we're in our parliament, and we were not inside parliament. We are here as politicians to actually shape the political view of our people, to inform them. That now is enshrined in the constitution of our country, section 35(1). It is clearly stated the role of political parties. So therefore, whether you're in a parliament or you're not in a parliament, this is where I said we miss the opportunity from the word go. And up to this day, would still, as politicians, and especially the opposition parties that were in a parliament, they know then they take their eyes off the ball. That wells we una day so. If only una know una responsibility, say una they serve as the oversight for the people of this country. A lot of these things will happen, so it not gonna happen. For example, the NGC man, he talk eloquently, but let's be serious. That's why they pull the APC man in a parliament. Where was the two other political parties in parliament? Let we come to the state of emergency. Let we come to the appointment. It pleases the president. What are they doing? They rubber stamping and they endorse what the government is saying to the detriment of the people of this nation. It is very, very serious. It's critical until we're able to take responsibilities. We're able to address issues, not to follow we begin the fight with self. No, where is the unity here? We have unity. We what in a coat of arms or whatever it is, right? We get
unity, freedom,
and justice. Where is the unity right now? The country is divided. We are disunited. There is no justice. You don't rely. You don't count on the judiciary system, how it operates, right? Where the freedom? You get all the intimidation. Now this young man say, oh, what in this one me don't do me, and they carry revenge. Then they say they look and say, oh, I go carry revenge. Well, my suggestion to this solution, to be blunt and to be frank to the people of this country, we get for look and say, we get for test something else. The testing way I mean, both traditional parties, both traditional parties, they don't hold this country to ransom. That's number one.
Exactly.
Number
exactly.
two, they don't monopolize the politics of this nation. Number three, they don't marginalize every other citizen of this country. Number four, the political space, they don't close up. Number five, there is that marriage of convenience between the APC and SLPP. Hypocrisy. I can give you so many instances, incidents where when a third party they emerge, whether a single party or civil society organization, I swear to God, my brother, then they come together. Then they come together and they look at you and say, look the nuisance, then they make mockery of us in the country. I'm not talking about political parties, I talk of the people of Sierra Leone. So the small political parties, the young political parties, they get for understand, say, at this time, let we educate the people of this country, say, look, after 59 years to 60 years, April of next year, 2021, they make we independent 61 years, 30 with a ration light, Watanodi. We get rivers all over the place. The land so fertile. We get the 14 minerals in this country. We are blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because
this
of
is
mismanagement,
we get coming with progressive politics and the nature of change.
A different situation. So what in I think say get for happen, Prince, right? Let the people understand, say, let them give chance. All younger political parties, when I think about it, say, in the interest of the people in this nation, come together, especially the presidential candidates, come together and form a formidable force. Not only criticizing, but suggesting, recommending, and educating the people as to their rights. I think
I want to let you hang on. But I'm glad you hang on there because you make quite some brilliant points right there. Fine. But that sounds almost like the song we not arrived there yet. So straight to Brother Vanley, before you talk about your progressive politics, I'm sure my learned friend will not read the white paper. And if you've done so, I wonder whether you will agree with me that the white paper is full of errors. It's really, really full of errors, and the crack on the wall is beginning to show. And the principal suspect or victim in this case is beginning to realize that there are so many errors there, and they begin to take courage in that. But here is my question, first of all, if you agree, which I think is there are errors there. If you focus your fight on the outside and forget about the inside, it's not going to work, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, quite easily, I subscribe to my brother Adams Bangura. There are a lot of problems with not just the white paper, the entire so-called anti-corruption campaign of this government. I can say that right from the start. You see, when you conduct an exercise in order to solve a problem, if what people they look at mostly than what you talk, like your action. Because if you don't talk, say you fight corruption, remember, now the people that don't see say you want to solve the problem of corruption. But then if you don't conduct, forget about the APC force. If you don't conduct as a government, it becomes questionable in relation to corruption, then whatever they come out with will be just, it will be seen as a partisan approach, as a political campaign, as a politicization of something was supposed to be genuine and national. What are they talk to? I mean, I can go through a list of things that what this government don't do. In reality, we're corrupt, socially, economically, politically. For example, we'll take the Chinese rice issue. Okay, that we don't go hold one of the young MPs and they don't come, acquit them. But up to this day, we don't know what happened. We don't know what are responsible. Corruption. Now look at the election constituency 110. Right in front of police officers, SLPP supporters then broke, smashed a ballot box. Corruption.
Yeah.
The vote rigging, what happened post 2018? Corruption. So you tell me true. You say they can't fight corruption, and yet I can go on for list examples of what they call corruption. But here they can make a big issue of fighting corruption and exposing the corruption of the past government. Of course, every citizen, including Mr. Bangura, with you know, say, corruption will happen out of wide-scale line party on the last government. No, we as citizens don't need any other proof. We know that SLPP, APC, corruption are a tradition. However, if you don't tell me, say, as a government, say you can't fight corruption, forget what the white paper first, demonstrate in new action, say you're against corruption. Now that's what they look at. Not just for sure say you're against them, but the process itself has to be seen as corrupt-free.
Okay, Bash.
One. Then the second part, and then now move to the actual white paper. I mean, what we see really very comical. I mean, you don't conduct a commission of inquiry, but you don't show me the actual report. I mean, we want to see the actual report of the commission itself. But you release an interpretation, because the white paper, remember said an interpretation, the government in your interpretation of the commission in report. But we as citizens, we need to see the original report from the commission. Then we gonna make up our mind. But you go instead of you show me the commission report first, you come with white paper. You talk what you want to talk. Fine. Where is the commission? Where the report? Again, a big question for that. Then also, there are people that were named in this commission of inquiry, in this white paper, as we refer to as wanted individuals. When they not called for go defend themselves. I mean, we don't see the complaints from them. They don't call them for go give evidence, for go defend themselves in court. All of a sudden, they don't appear in the white paper. And the white paper. So the thing is, again, this white paper, it will come back to the same thing they talk about all along. Disrespect for procedures, procedural malpractice. You see, this lack of respect for the law, if we are in power, now what I want now to be. So in other words, what don't become very clear. The so-called fight against corruption under SLPP. Now the attempt for expose APC corruption, not an attempt for expose corruption in general. But we, the public, not to just APC corruption, we want a fight against corruption in general. APC corruption, SLPP corruption.
Absolutely.
And also, here is the issue. That this they bring we in. And everything they're talking about tonight or for the next 100 million years, it always they come out to the same thing. The systemic problem we're gonna see. You understand? And if APC tomorrow or whatever time in the next century comes back to power, I will assure you that 100%. The young commission will institute now for do the same thing for go after SLPP corruption. So now the system, now the problem is we're gonna Sierra Leone, and now this system is what we NGC they focus on.
Okay, Bashiru, Mr. Bandi, thank you.
Until we get a mentality, we get a party, we get a group of people where one tackle the problems of Sierra Leone in national interest rather than in partisan interest. We will always continue
for Bashiru, equal time. I want you to read from the observer there. I want you to read the time is closing down on us, brother. And you get your final submission for make where you go get a length of time for make.
So the white paper, the process itself and the presentation he kind of has attitude.
But Jimmy, sir, you want chime in?
Yeah, I think you should come next to me by order of presentation. I'm just reminding.
Yeah, and by order of request, I do come next to you. So again, my brother, we just need to talk about issues of the white paper. It's becoming very obvious that people that we don't read the white paper, you don't need for be a lawyer. You just need for understand English, basically maybe sound English, and you can see the misrepresentation, the misinterpretation, the misstatements, the misclarification of facts, the misstatements them. And this is unprecedented, for look at that body of work for be a professional work. But people then they suspect that this can only be attributed to when they do a thing we don't get sincerity, as brother Adams or Bashiru mentioned, sincerity. Because in the fight against this thing, if sincerity not there, definitely there are going to be errors on the way. Jimmy said, the point I'm trying to make on the white paper is there are obvious errors in the white paper. And it seems like it's one group of people who are targeted in that particular white paper. If you can't target people on the inside or make a general fight against corruption, then that fight is not going to be won. The question to you, brother, is we know say the institutions, them, they are not solid. The pillars of the institutions, them, are weak. From the inception of the war to these 5 elections, then we don't get, now the peace now we try for keep, still at this point. So if you come, you can't rock the boat, so severely. The tendency for let the boat capsize is very, very real. In this sense, you not think say the general situation, and they talk about security-wise, within the context of this white paper, the presentation, the writing of it help for deteriorate the security of the state more than it benefits the state and the people?
Yes, certainly so. Firstly, I not even believe say this government be determined enough for release the white paper in the first place. Because we see the white paper almost few days to its expiration date. Because in 20 or 48 hours to tell the president make a statement on the white paper or release them. If you not be do that, the white paper for expire by law. That means they're not be supposed for talk about anything concerning the commissions of inquiry. So the question, first of all, we me want to ask why it was so late, for bringing the white paper. And also, I believe that they account for a lot of errors the way they in the white paper said, because I rushed the Russian people and I do. Say, no, left, you don't say, let this expire. They had no intentions in the first place. Because when you didn't know, way people in the inside government, the way perception they, the way they see things, and it's quite different way you guys run at the seat. So probably when they came in and then they see what they happen, how government they go, then they begin to see some of the statement or the comment they may not make, because the GTT report, just like Adam's talk, he already find APC, the way served the previous government guilty even before the commission was set up. You understand? So the white paper is very inconsistent. It is not honest. I will say this: it is not honest, and this is sad. Yeah, just like we previous speaker and don't say this now be an opportunity where say alone for not use for really show an example to the world, say we're ready for fight corruption, but we just miss another opportunity because this white paper in itself is not honest. There are a lot of discrepancies. As a matter of fact, favoritism embedded inside the white paper. There are names I've seen in that white paper. Certain people always serve even the previous government. They give a light charges because they are very close to this current government right now. I don't want to name names because ethical. But if you go read that paper, that document, the food up for itself, you go see certain people that say we are very renowned. In the previous governments, we point fingers and say these guys are very corrupt. Those are the people where they ask them for give bitters back as things the way they take back from the government. So the inconsistency in the white paper clearly shows that this government, this president is not ready to fight corruption. Again, that brings me to my next point. As at the time, concurrently, simultaneously, when this still happening, now they release a survey where they conduct say the office of the president is ranked third. The third most corrupt institution in Sierra Leone, and then preceded by the Parliament of Sierra Leone. That is sad. That is at the time when this one commissions of inquiry white paper that they present, then we get this report saying Parliament of Sierra Leone is the second most corrupt institution in Sierra Leone. The office of the president is the third most corrupt institution in Sierra Leone. So who's putting the corruption effect? In fact, even the release of the failure to release the report of the commissions of inquiry alongside the white paper is itself corruption. It's in itself corruption. That means there is something you are hiding. And why are you hiding it? We don't even need to ask this government for that. If they are willing to fight corruption, these things should come by themselves. So we just don't mistake. This is very sad. And I also will say this government only released this white paper because they campaign on that platform. This president will say, it will institute commission of inquiry, it will fight corruption, it will declare war on corruption. So he only released the white paper for Sierra Leone and they say, okay, what if we don't talk now? One of in campaign promises, but for say in itself, it get the determination of better. That is not true. Otherwise, within the ACC commissioner they do, when they accuse Parliament of corruption. They invite anybody from there. He should have even invited the Speaker or the Clerk of Parliament when at the administrative head of Parliament. We know the scenario, but he's very quick to parade teachers on the street for exam practices and stuff like that. Yeah, but talk about the Chinese
corruption. Yeah, not
grand corruption. They waste government resources. They waste state resources for go after teachers where they pay less than $1 million, as the case may be. But when they accuse people in the Ministry of Primary Education for corruption, and they were not paraded in a street law. I mean, that would also say it means corruption, but it's so they mean for fed corruption. So you see that some of the challenge and I know get. We currently not get system. There is no way we can move forward as a people if we come to not get system. Any president will come. It is very obvious that himself now say go conduct himself because system are not there for also the people accountable for even stop the president. For example, in the United States, the president will get right now. What's he doing? If system are not be like this country, like that man they don't wreck this country. But because there are systems in place, they decided to anyway want for do enable for do. One thing, any president will Canada country will want for develop that country, want for make that country move forward. Targets for set up system. Will not those systems not in a salon. That's why anybody can do anything. And that is why the president is down. I tell the police, the head of IG say go arrest that person, not today the police arrest her. That is why election they go on, members of the ruling party they go take ballot box, then distract in the presence of police, but police cannot do anything because if the police do anything, the police will be sacked tomorrow morning. They will sack the police. But here in America, we saw during the protest for George Floyd. We see a state police officer, head of a state police officer, tell the president, say, if you not get anything sensible for talk, let's shut up. Excuse me for that. Let's shut up. Yeah. You understand? Because there are systems. But in Sierra Leone, the police, if the police want to be independent, the following morning, the IG will be sacked. So we got to not get system. So this government...
And we have an IG way swear oath of allegiance to the president instead of to the state. So
this government is not ready to fight corruption. They're not prepared. They do this for maybe
window dressing, salad dressing.
Yeah, we don't get stuff like that. Yeah, but they are not sincere at all.
Many thanks, brother. That was passionately said. I can feel the heat. But Adam, I see you want say something quickly, and I just want to advise quickly if you can make it short because I want to come to the final submission, but I want to go to the observer them and at least give them 1 minute for them to inject something. So when they come to the final submission, but you want to say something quickly?
Absolutely. Now, just some key facts and no more, at least from where we viewers out there know say, we not just to talk about the white paper in abstract. Just few of the key facts and we make some of really continue for challenging inconsistency in this white paper. Now, in some of the findings of Biobele and George, what did it have to say? There was this recapitalization loan we then give to local commercial bank because the bank they fail, the bank want go bust. Now, the then former president in wisdom and in team say we have to do something and rescue this bank. They recapitalized that with $40 million loan. Now the bank is doing exceptionally well. Last year, I understand said the bank paid up to 70-something billion loans as dividend to the government of Sierra Leone. Why not ask the bank for repay the remainder of now loan day? Instead, you left the bank when I don't utilize the loan. You said the previous president now irresponsible in team, therefore can't pay. With the Dr. Mara, Dr. Kefala Mara was found not wanting to have lived beyond his means or whatever they call it. And then you find them guilty, and on that side they say in President Koroma and others, therefore pay instead of the local commercial bank itself. And then you left that side the insincerity about this whole thing about the fight against corruption. Private lawyers were hired on the Sansumana versus government of Sierra Leone issue, who were paid. The commission say then private lawyers are there for refund now money day because then consider it was an abuse. Meanwhile, this same government hired private lawyers then for these same commissions of inquiry who were paid 50 million loans plus a month. So where is the sincerity in the fight against corruption? If the states before now, the government before now, use private lawyers on state matter, una self don't use private lawyers. Now you do ask say then private lawyers they are there for can refund them money then they. And then you left on that side, you go to section 50 of the Constitution, where it talks about the president, the powers of the president. You come to subsection 3 and 4. What tell you say the president gets
executive
authority.
Yeah.
This executive authority,
it
cannot be inquired into. He said, in the wisdom of the president, it can either be delegated or executed by himself, and that cannot be inquired into. Now you say, therefore, can inquire into President Nkrumah for see whether he benefited in that or not. Who determines what is an abuse of authority? Who determines that? When this same president, he don't use the same executive authority for either appoint, cancel contract, or offer that contract should not go through procurement procedures. He don't offer unto people away. He thinks that they are his cronies.
Okay, there's so much more,
authority.
And the numbers keep going up. I mean, the procedural impropriety is
ridiculous.
It's breathtaking. It's
so
ridiculous.
It is a missed opportunity for us to fight corruption sincerely.
Yeah, absolutely. And the direction and the entire issue is becoming very, very obvious, like I say, and the people cannot be fooled anyway. And but Bashir will expand on that. Before I go to Brother Umfaji for making final submission, and I'll give you enough time, sir. I want to say thank you to Una, for taking this opportunity for can explain to the Salon people and what a very good conversation. And I want to let Fambule say now multi-parties in now we talk about sooner. I mean the parties are represented. You get APC, you get C4C, you get NGC, and one final ADP. And one final time, I want to make it known to the general public that the SLPP was officially invited. We get the communication now as the basis of evidence. I mean, it's unbelievable that no apologies were sent, for reasons for being absent. And I find that, kind of disrespectful and very, very unprofessional. But hence, we'll see waiting they unfold anyway, so we can make a fair judgment on that. Let's go to the panel then quickly, and it seems like Brother Sam Kanu cannot wait. Let me hear your observation quickly, Brother Kanu.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Nkrumah. For me, I think, first of all, I want to applaud the panelists. I think everybody puts up very good views about the endemic system we're in the country. Personally, I believe, we get fundamental issues. We get systematically, endemically, and fundamentally corrupt system. We make it very impossible for we get a good governance in the country. There is the issue of tit for tat. The two parties were on there since 1961 when we born. Then get the tit for tat kind of government where they play each other. The various arms of government are not separated. They are intertwined one way or the other. They influence each other one way or the other. And so we will find it very difficult for we get an effective and efficient system of government for run the country. And I believe, waiting Salon need a change from these two parties. We need change. And me, Grand Chief Patron of the National Grand Coalition Party, and we vision is to bring change in the country. A kind of politics that puts the country first, away from these two political parties. Unless we have change, it will be very difficult for Sierra Leone to be run effectively and efficiently. Because why? Now, what is happening from 1961, as far as I know, the government is run on tribal and regional links. When the government come, you find out, it will be linked to this region, or then they link to that region, or this tribe. And so we find out that we don't get an inclusive government. Instead, we have a government where they run on regional and tribal lines. And so what is happening now, let me come to the white paper. No wonder why everybody they say the white paper has flaws and that it is selective. So those views and issues and way people in the put as far as the white paper is concerned embodies the point why they try to make here say everything is based on regional and tribal links. You see, for a very long time as a nation, we don't suffer too much. And the politicians, they've preyed on the 65 or 60% of the population who are illiterate, who cannot understand the socio-political and economic aspect of how it is run in the country, take advantage of the population by bribing them when it comes to election, vote for me, give them money. As far as NGC is concerned, we don't believe in bribing anyone. We're not going to bribe anybody for votes for we. You know,
Okay.
we just sell, we aspirations, we policies, we visions to the people, putting country first. So
Yeah.
personally, I think unless we have change in Sierra Leone from these two political parties, it's going to be very, very difficult for see change. The judicial system, the executive system, the legislature, the police, the army, there is systematic endemic corruption. We need to be tackled. And I do hope say the ACC and the Commission of Inquiry will be able to deal with some of these issues. But
Yeah.
it should be free of tribal and regional links, and it should not be a witch hunt.
Absolutely, sir.
It has to be fair. So that is my own
Absolutely.
submission tonight. Thank you very much.
Many, many thanks, sir, for that brilliant final contribution for tonight. Very illuminating and very, very encouraging. And the next time we will assemble this panel, we will try for talk solutions. Sister Lynette, are you there? I don't think she's there. Sister Maya Maba, are you there? No, I don't think she's there as well. But Mark G. Conte just spoke. Okay. And there's someone here with the iPhone. Any of the observers are there? Okay, none of them are there. So we just come.
I'm here, Mr. Prince Kuruma. I think I just want to make a very quick submission, if you can permit me. Suma, sir, from Germany.
Mohamed Suma, yeah, Mr. Mohamed Suma, go ahead, please. We want your different views, diverse views.
Thank you very much. First of all, make I thank all the panelists and make I thank you, sir, Mr. Prince Kuruma. You've done a very great job for the bring people them come on board for make them they can share them views them. But one thing we me want for say, maybe like saying I just short parables them no more at the poll. Because time not there for we and make I just say number one or two things then.
Absolutely.
And I will start one side. We only talk about the system. The system is like you get for if you meet a bush, you want for go farm inside that bush, they get first for brush the road, say for go do your farming. And then the roadway you get for brush now, some things you get for use some tools them for make you brush, for make you able to go do your farming. And all the thing we want for say now, if we only say this white paper is corrupt or the government itself is corrupt, we know say the government is corrupt and SLPP and APC, both of them are corrupt. But if both of them are corrupt, then I just they go to the second to last speaker before Mr. Sam Kanu they come. We say this government not been prepared for even bring up this white paper because they count them late before time. Now because of we the Sierra Leoneans them the pressure we will pile on them. Now that make them able to bring up this white paper for make them come present them to the people before the time overdue. So if that don't be the case, that don't show we the Sierra Leoneans they say, and you the Prince Kuruma say, then people are they listen to we. And so what do we get for do as Sierra Leoneans? We get for pile pressure also on this government, although the system is bad, but more we pile pressure on them for make sure say them bring them people here to book, make them hold them accountable, make them do as the same thing where the APC been do before when they take power. Make them hold them people here accountable. Make the people them account for waiting them, then tip from the people of Sierra Leone. I believe say if we do that to the people of Sierra Leone, we represent the people for always they come at the social media and go hard on the government. Make sure say them do exactly what they're waiting them for do. That will help we Sierra Leoneans them. But if we always they come and say this government is corrupt and waiting that they do no right and only we know say it not right, but make we tell them say what you they do in all right and I need for do the right thing until we get a better government who will be able to take we forward. Thank you very much because there is no time. God bless you all.
Amen. God bless you too, brother. And I want to say thank you to the observers then again for bear with we. while the panel and they make their case, and most of the cases, or all of the cases made by the panel, very succinct, very much so to the point, and we hear some of the observers and they profile solutions. Now that's me hearing from them. So now, like I said, the next time we'll assemble this panel again, again for be on a solution based, self-offense solution going forward. But now we make we final submission. I want to bring Brother Mfaji Kaba, the acting leader for the Alliance Democratic Party, for giving in final submission on this entire evening or morning, depending on where you are of this broadcast where we hold. Brother Mfaji, the platform is yours, please.
Thank you, Mr. Prince. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, viewers. What the final statement to this whole thing, Mr. Prince, is that I will go back to what Dr. Sandidi they talk about. The 1991 Constitution, when are the key problem because the executive gets absolute unchecked powers. That one is the key problem we'll get in this country. But you know what previous and current governments know church are? Because any executive will come, will look what's in the inside the forum. You know, they bother with her. So it don't lead to state capture, it don't lead to institutional captures. And some of their institutions there, I will tell you, when we look at them critically, we go really see it, then irrespective of the mandate that they have as it is enshrined in the Constitution, the supreme law of this country. Now then very much they connive with current governments for letting them muscle the political space and for letting them deprive people them of their rights as citizens. For example, like the Political Party Registration Commission. Even this situation where C4C they defend themselves, where they slam the injunction and everything. What are you doing as the regulatory body for parties? Instead, you join or you play a pivotal role for bring division among political parties. You try for muscle and make I tell me colleagues there's something that is actually happening where the parties, the younger parties, they know they pay attention to. The PPRC right now, they don't get, they don't have a legal total for them, for let them take and go to parliament, let them get extra powers. You know what's in at the aim of that? They are working for let them make sure say then deregister a lot of the young political parties. That's not the democracy in any one kill because we don't reach to 17 political parties with the population we'll get. Now look at what is happening. You get a lot of people who don't know they're in a position is His Excellency or because of political affiliation or my cousin or what they call. They're not a good chance for let the vetting process within the civil service for let it really be for let get the right people away for serve this country. We have a lot of problems with the structural and the systemic way in which this country is being run. And like where one of the observers just talked when at the NGC man, I'm telling you, please, it is high time for we Sierra Leoneans to shift. Let we shift. Let we get the guts for saying, you know what, let we try new things. And if any one political party outside of the APC and SLPP thinks then go come if they don't work with other political parties for pull APC or SLPP, you're making a mistake because 65% to 70% of the people there, they are illiterate. Secondly, from where they are born to the then two parties they know, then get strong. Their connections are just powerful for some people, not even religion for them. So what we go say is young political parties should be thinking of forming a formidable opposition, or they form something that we call a strategic alliance. It don't be Guinea, it don't be Gambia, it don't be Nigeria, it don't be Ghana, it don't be Ivory Coast, even Liberia naya. It don't be Guinea naya. You know, so why Salone are the only country now today, Prince, where still maintain the two old traditional parties. How progress go there 59 to 60 years? You waiting again for another what? Let us be serious about making sure that we take the country back, we own our country, we put systems and structures in place, we're going to lead this country forward for progress and development. But if we just sit down, like we'll get the opportunity here with Prince and other media outlets, and they give it for Leuka, voice out. No, we should be thinking of solutions. And we were involved into the politics. Let we give a priority. Let we make it a principle responsibility that we are accountable to our people and we should work for them, we should inform them, we should make provisions for our youth, we should make sure that our women are empowered, they should have leadership position within political parties. Let us do it. Rwanda has done it, Kenya has done it, Ghana, they're doing it, they're empowering women. But we man, they won't want to dominate the political space, and we think, say, we wait for we mamide or the woman, they don't get right to their own opinion, they don't get right for participate. If they take we down, if we not make provision for, we use them, we empower them, we educate them, we give them the tools. You know what's happy? After we don't get out of the place, we get a very dangerous society because we not make the foundation for the youth. So let's respect these two sectors of our society and get them involved. That could also help to bring about changes, Prince. But we need to do that. The women, the youths, we get to make them be very, very much participate, for let them go participate in the political process of this country. Changes for come. We're not going to subject this country, we're not going to continue for the at the ransom or the mercy of these two traditional parties that have failed us. That's the bottom line. Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you, viewers. And I hope we'll get the time again for the chat for we'll meet outside of then kind of forum here for we actually address issues of national concern. Thank you.
Many thanks, sir. Many thanks. I mean, that was well said. I want to take away to West Coast. I can see me bored a little bit bored, here, and I ended at the fast in terms of the time zone and the inconvenience of the time. So, Brother Jimmy, sir, your conclusion statement, please. If you can just wrap up the evening for we as you see and fit.
Yeah, I promise you, say it will be short. Sierra Leone are the only country where we get, as even though we are members of the opposition, but we are also able to conduct ourselves as honest as possible. We in AC4C will continue for criticize government who side and go wrong, and we will also compliment them in areas who side and do well, and partner with them for bring the needed change or development to the people of Sierra Leone. We not only do for criticize government, but as I say, we will also compliment them who side and do well. We will continue for do that, but as members of political party, they find for that we approach governance with honesty, sincerity, and determination for create the change we want. Let not only be by word of mouth, but let be in your attitude, in your action, so that way they come on Sierra Leone. And because a lot of us we're able for make a living for ourselves, we're able for make decent living, but waiting to happen now to the one day way they continue for suffer. I mean, Sierra Leone are a very small country. I mean, with 7 million population, approximately with several minerals, we're up to this point in time. I mean, we're in a diaspora, we are not supposed to be here. If things them will go on right, if not to say we not get bad governance, them corruption, I mean systemic corruption and stuff like that. We can't be rich, but they reflect on the people of Sierra Leone. So it's very sad. And I think the way some of we privately work in there, imagine. I tell people and I'm a job say, under normal circumstances, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in my country because my country is rich, but because of the TRO the face, don't make we come today like that. So it's sad. I share the views of the man from the ADP, Mr. Mfaji. He made very good points. That is the way to go. That is the solution as the people. Opposition parties, one small party for full SFPA power. That is absolutely not possible, except again for big concerted effort. But again, interesting in guys, that has always been the problem. Is somebody who wants to be the leader at all costs. So that could be the problem. But I believe say waiting can able for moving forward. Now we'll continue for be honest to and for be accountable to the people of Sierra Leone and not do them the justice where they really deserve. So Mr. Prince, I tell you plenty thank you for this. I'm the very first time on this platform. I hope it not will be the last time. I'll always also continue for avail myself when it's say what you want, so that I will continue for discuss this. And someday I hope in the not too distant future we will achieve the goals. And then some of you guys are patriots, which they do so. Now, a very big way we contribute towards the development of that country, for bring out the issues, discuss them, and through that, they will be able to get solutions for make the country better. So I tell you plenty thank you for us.
Many thanks, sir. I appreciate all of the sentiments expressed by you, especially the progressive one, and where they talk about how we can bring We Nation come forward and joining and making efforts so that we can become the progressive leaders of tomorrow or shape the future for a tomorrow devoid of this kind of tribal politics where we see we just be between two cheeks of the same backside. Excuse me for the expression. Yeah. But Sam Kanu, talk on this entire contribution. I guess I'm right. You know, make any contribution. You know, do any observation. Did you?
Yeah, I did earlier on.
Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Thank you for the contribution, and thank you to everybody. Like go to me, brother Adams Bangura. Brother Adams, thanks for your patience. We are really in passion plea. And I want to give Bashiru the last word because I know saying affecting the comfort, here for talk about the progressives. But Adams, it's been a brilliant evening, and the things that we will talk now on multiple party basis. I mean, everybody can see that. Apart from the ruling party, and the make hold some of me fire back and some of me questions who have been on design because it will look unfair on them part. If I be one home them questions, then because even though I know home them, we've been very critical and rightfully so. And nobody will say we were not right in terms of the criticism levied at government. But it's been a brilliant evening thus far. I just want you to make your final submission because there's so much to say. White paper, the general state of security, bread and butter issues, the economic system, your party being under fire, and rightfully so, like Bashir would say, because of course there were corrupt elements. But if you want to fight the corruption, you therefore be careful how you fight them. You can't just target one party. You therefore look within your rank and file as well. So the platform is all yours, Brother Adam.
Thank you very much, Brother Prince, and to we viewers out there. I want to say thank you for this opportunity where you give we for come raise some of our concerns. But however, no matter how personal those concerns may be, we for also understand say we are Sierra Leoneans first, and Sierra Leone is bigger than every one of us. So we're not for lost sight of that. Regardless of which party where you find yourself, you must always have that semblance of national patriotism in you. That being said, we need to make we understand, say, then say there was this former governor of New York who's being quoted to have said these words that you the campaign in poetry and you govern in prose. This was Governor Cuomo.
Yeah, in Bobo the president, I mean, Peking, one of the
in Bobo Naina, the president governor. I mean, in Papa, Naina be related to that quote there too. So yeah, basically, what he is trying to say that while you do campaign, there are so many things that you will say, but when you don't get governance, it's a completely different thing. Yeah. So that is to say, this natural president Bio, you may have said so many things out there, but the reality, when in that seat, which of course he should know, because this is not his first time of going there, that the tension is out there. We are a highly divided and polarized nation. Make no mistake about it, especially between the SLPP and the APC. The division is right. The tension is there. And for him as a president, he needs to scale back. The burden of responsibility lies with him. You may want to say what you may about former President Nkrumah, but I think he did very well in that for uphold with fragile peace. He could have used the same powers for do so many things under he empowered them, but he did not for several reasons, because it therefore ensures say we remain at least not a perfect nation, but ones that should uphold our fragile peace. President Bio need to look at that and scale back. And if he had read President Nkrumah's handing over note, I think that for don't be a stepping stone for him, like President Nkrumah did read that of late President Kaba of blessed memory, because that will able to take you through. Now, only people who occupy now seats there will know what that is required for make them understand what you will face the nation. So now, President Nkrumah again say he had made mistake. He may have made mistake that he didn't do everything perfect. He's not a perfect man. We all understand that. Does it mean that people in the APC who needs to account or we the need for ask questions? Of course, Instead, we don't talk am. But while at it, let us do it within the law, and we make sure say we not broke law because we think say then people will forgo after them at all costs, even with little or no evidence. We have to be very careful about it. You cannot tell me say a house is worth $6 million when me and you know the value of a $6 million house or the design of a $6 million house. You're not gonna go get a valuation officer where is non-trained, non-qualified, is saying by experience. We go tin up on top of his truck, then he watch through the fence, then he put the value to the property, and the court uphold that kind of value did. And you as a government, you endorse them. That can only be out of malice. Let us do things within the law and ensure say those who are culpable, let them pay, let them be made to answer for it. But those who are not, make we know you say because now we get power today, we they do everything where we get for do for make we teach them lesson. Nobody should be made to go through that. Because what you get for say, we do not have an absolute monarchy. For simple by say, the monarchic rule we get. So with this president don't they pass until death, then the next person, family person can take over. Yesterday it was President Nkrumah. He's no longer there. You, President Bio, when you would have left that office, you go ahead and treat you with respect, and people at least appreciate the fact that you did what you had to do at a particular time in the interest of your people, but also you will want that respect to be accorded to you. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Let us do things within the law. He needs to scale back because most times, you know, now the supporters and Kimek, we get rogue leaders now we nations. But you as the leader, now you don't be elect. Now you get to look at your supporters and say, ladies and gentlemen, we have won, but now we need to govern for all Sierra Leoneans. Some of them are suggestions. I watch some person and tell and say, no, I am not buying into this. The moment you begin to kick back, they will stop for can give you negative advices. But let them not continue for give you advice on the point saying, let us go after APC because we want 2023 at all costs. You could be failing in that strategy because no matter how you look at them, you have to put Sierra Leone and the interests of Sierra Leoneans first. We need a constitution, which, by the way, as I say, it was a missed opportunity for APC, for make APC not before ensure say the CRC recommendation, we don't get a new constitution. It was a missed opportunity. And I hope President Bio, as so many people they call, go able for look into now white paper they left by the late man, and see say we get a new constitution that is fit for purpose. With 1991 constitution has been abused by literally every other person. That constitution we need to get rid of them. But first, the sincerity comes with the current president for ensure say he lives up to the expectation of all Sierra Leoneans. We are a divided nation. The tensions are right. Make no mistake about it. May nobody not tell we say we are not. We are. The tensions are right. You get people there now, we go tell you, say, hey, me, I want to go Stallone, but that's afraid. Because then people are in governance, so they're so not they take, they're so hostile to opposition views. If I go there, then we'll do this, then we'll do that, then we'll do that. Nobody should be made to go through that in your own country, especially in a democratic state. We shouldn't be. We have to scale back while we continue for all government to account. We continue for oppose within the laws of Sierra Leone, but the heavy-handedness need for stop. We've had people who have been killed at Pademba Road, Makeni, and so many other places. Those people, their lives need to be accounted for. Their people are calling for justice. Let us ensure that we give justice to them. We'll not continue to give justice only when the things say it favors the government of the day. Because tomorrow you'll be made to account for all of those things. And you're not going to want for me to subject you into some of them things there. So we all of us, we need to scale back while we continue to hold government account into the activities. What did they do? Thank you very much again for the opportunity.
Absolutely, a brilliant wrap up, and all of what you said, is absorbed by the audience, I believe. But specifically, I listened and I hung on to everything that you said, Brother Adams. We must continue for whole government accountable. I always say that line myself, because it's a civic responsibility. It's a constitutional duty. Don't be silent, okay? I mean, the conversation has been so interesting, so intense in a positive way that I forget the usual ritual for talk to the people in the chat room and read out some names. And let me just do this quickly before I go to the final contribution for tonight. Lamin Denke, many thanks for your contribution. Aaron Pape, they cannot deliver, hence the reason for absenteeism. Bintu Loba, thanks for enlightening us on the errors of the white paper. Sister Melinda Johnny, Aaron Pape, APC has always been the worst party, and Pasheki killed so many oppositions and declared a one-party state through intimidation, ethnic cleansing, etc., etc. And so far so good. Lamin Denke, KKY, who sold oil refinery, okay. And I think Sister Melinda Johnny again, no Laipan, President Bio, and Brian Masai is part of the corrupt system. Clifford Koma, Bio is a tribalist, the most useless president on planet Earth, or that's kind of harsh. Aaron Pape, why is KKY quiet in parliament? And so on. So I want for Sister Eva Kuruma, short a reply to Lamin Denke. Go read about that because the submission is nothing but false. Una make we talk through, okay? And Brother Sise and everybody else on the panel, in the chat, I say thank you to all. We've been exceptionally good. Let me read the final submission for tonight from the NGC man on the panel, and this is about Bashir Uvandi. But Bashir Uvandi, very honors here for close the program. Will you start?
Okay, then thank you very much. And I also say thanks to all my fellow panelists. On behalf of the NGC party, I want to talk directly to the APC, the SLPP, and to the nation at large. And to the SLPP party and the supporters, that is how they say. We understand, say, in governance, you got a huge burden for solve problems of the nation. We understand, say, we're not going to solve everything in one go, immediately, automatically. We understand, say, that the responsibility of the government, for enforce the law. But the problem where they get with our party, with the SLPP and the SLPP supporters, that this predominant image, what they see, say the things that one of them criticize today, one of they condone them now. In other words, double standards. One example I will give now. Una been join NGC, the tell una been in opposition for fight against human rights abuse. Una been join we for call for democracy. But today, for example, Namakeni, when the same incident where happen na Makeni, where happen na Bo, na Bikono, na Kabala, una been come hard on the APC party, APC government, and talk, say, and criticize and condemn police brutality. And we will support una in that. But today, in government, when Namakeni, this policeman and gone down and kill protesters. Una women they support we for now criticize police violence. Una turn around and they support our government. Well, now the problem this will get to now. Not if I say una they support the fight against corruption or the fight against violence. But that double standards where una they demonstrate, they show we say una government really come for change society for good, una simply come for replicate and continue the same system what we don't get from all along. So we APC supporters, colleagues, sorry, the APC colleagues, we don't understand una pain. We know why make una they complain. Most of the things that they go wrong, una they complain, but we agree. The undemocratic nature of the way we then throw una MPs out of parliament, we do to now, we support una. Now, Makeni incident, we support the APC on many other issues. But the problem we'll get to now the fact say, not only trading, but even now in opposition, we have to continue the same thing what we have to do in governance, we make them pull a common power. Example, after 2018 election, we have party say that they appoint a 9-man committee for investigate what they could have lost the election. This is just a simple test. What APC for us show then opposition party say, they're not ready for change. Una appoint Nama committee for let them investigate. Instead of una leadership for allow the Nama committee for do their job and come back to the membership and report genuinely what happened. Una leadership, not to be talking now APC elite, like Lawyer Kaloko, Silver Bladin, then we say, una party leadership begin drive the same Nama committee with appoint just for them to come out with a counterfeit report. Same corruption in government, same corruption in opposition. When our problem this to now. None of us say we know the support. We don't want for create a kind of united force for fight injustice. But we know on the one hand, they condone and practice corruption. And at the same time, we don't want let people that we want change in the country general for attack the government for the same thing. So again, just like where we criticize double standards within SLPP, that the same thing will get to now. Even in opposition, where they continue the same mentality. And therefore, we have to make it very difficult for other members of the opposition to side with now on many issues. Now, to the public, ladies and gentlemen, fellow citizens of Sierra Leone, you see, we now say from independence state today, all the problems that we talk about in this program has been repeated without complaining about the same problems over and over again. Not a real thing. So it don't reach to a point now when we NGC don't fed up. You see, we're not get time again for the see when something happen. Instead of we only talk about the incident, we're actually dragging the system. Because the system, none of the problem. So now we're going to see, we don't only attack the government, we also go after APC. We don't go after APC, we go hate APC. No. We want change. We want genuine change. This idea, when the two parties are set for change, only for political change, instead of systemic change, now making the change. We don't change government how many times our history. Take today, that the same problem with the complaint board. Still a change. Take today, from when we grandpa, before we grandpa the bond, Bumuna. When they say that they use them for create electricity. Look at take today, with all the money they don't take. So, ladies and gentlemen, because of this lack of change, because APC, SLPP not giving the change we want, because from the under them, unemployment they go up, people that know they get job, clean water not they day, security not the nation, education they go down, things that they collapse, bridge and they fall down, with people that live on poverty, mama and that you know themselves for good work, then they struggle for.
So what about the now? What about the now, Bash? Yeah, what you're saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, so now we not say people of Sierra Leone, that's solution I want. We don't know what is the solution, not only for talk about the problem. Well, the solution that NGC want bring. We not say we don't know about corruption. So when we come into power, if we not decide for change, what do we do? For start with, commission and inquiry, we say as waste of money because we already got institutions where for fight corruption. If only we practice them genuinely concerned for fight corruption. Okay, every year the audit service they conduct audit, then they audit the government, they come up with recommendations. We got the police service, we got the judiciary. If that institution they be empowered, the government allow them to do their job. Why they need commission of inquiry? Why they waste this money here for begin pay all the money for do something where we can easily do with our own system that we'll get. Yeah. But because that two parties there, whenever they're in government, they want to protect the yoke cabal. I mean, look what this report don't talk. Look the scale of fraud where the report say don't commit. We got ACC under an Nkrumah. Who saw the building? What other thing will happen?
Bashiru, you get 60 seconds, my friend.
Yeah. So now, ladies and gentlemen, what we have to say is the system don't collapse. We want change. Socially, we will able to tackle corruption as NGC because we will make the system, the institution will do the job, will allow them to do the work without interference. We not want to tie with tribalism, regionalism. We want to bring a politics. We will make Every Sierra Leonean, not Southwest and East, don't say they're not Sierra Leonean, and the government, NGC government, they work for them, not against them. Economically, poverty, unemployment in the country. Why? Because when they get two political parties, when they come in, then they actually just empower the public sector rather than empower the private citizens to become entrepreneurs and business people. We free the citizens and help
Okay,
the people of the private sector for doing employment.
Time is
Politically,
Time is
we
up,
not say
brother. Time is up. Time is up.
voting. Okay, politically, we not say voting on the right. We go make sure
So,
say under NPC government, all citizens will
ladies and
vote free
gentlemen,
and
we
fair
on
in
the
the election
3-hour mark,
without them
Mr.
not voting.
Bashiru.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I know the time will
Yeah.
never be enough, but we right on the 3-hour mark. Okay.
Yeah,
And I
thank
want
you.
to say exceptional thanks to all the guests them who participate in this program here tonight, and all of the observers them, the viewers them. Una, please let me share this video, because what an interesting conversation we've had here. And I'm sure these guests will come back again at some point where we will talk about solution. The struggle for total emancipation for the people will always continue. The struggle against corruption, if it has no sincerity behind them, I mean, it's not going to work. It's not supposed to be based on regional party and other lines. But on this basis, I want to bring an end to the program. Thank you very much, Brother Bashiru Vandi of the NGC. Thank you very much, Brother Jimmy Sir from the United States, California, of the C4C party. Thank you so much, Brother Mfaji Kaba, for all the efforts you make today, leading to the to this program we just broadcast now. Brother Mfaji Kaba, the acting leader of the Alliance Democratic Party, Mr. Kanu, Brother Adams Bangura of the All People's Congress, Sister Lynette, Sister Mariam Abba, and the head for the political party, Mr. Mohammed Suma. I mean, Mr. Mohammed Sandi. Thank you to everybody who participated. Now let's finish with this music once upon a time. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prince. Well done.
Well said, Mr. Vandi. Well said.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you very much. Mr. Bashiru Vandi, thank you too. You've done a very great job.
Mr. Ba.
Whenever you're free, can we go to a body shop so we can see?
Thank you, Mr. Bashiru Vandi. Job well done. So proud of you. So proud of you,
No,
sir.
let me know.
No, Brother Prince, I think say the music need to come, so more will let you now.
No, we're not left for this music here. Now for play for. And if you don't reach that HD, then I for go now, because it's not all time.
The music need to come, so if the music need to come, they'll go let you. Cosina gramophone, you want play for we?
So, it's the
That's a gramophone. If I don't have gramophone business, now up to date man.
Is it not old time? So if you not gramophone, make I know.
So now technical difficulties you get when I get chance.
Because that's Salia Joseph Serifio, Naimi Buan for listening.
Oh dear. Very interesting. Bona, thank you for tuning.
Your volume is gone, Prince.
You say what you say in the again.